Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is currently 11:49 p.m. on this cold Tuesday evening going into Wednesday morning. It is 39 degrees outside, but it feels much colder than that. And I just ran home for a minute and said hello to Alex, who fell asleep earlier and got up to drink some water and take the dogs out, and then he was going back to bed. And then I grabbed my camera and I made a cup of coffee. Tonight this is Barney's Santa's White Christmas, I think is what it is. I put a couple of those K-cups in the drawer, and now I'm vlogging. And my goal is to, I don't know how long I'm gonna vlog tonight. To be honest with you guys, I am like borderline exhausted. And so I may only vlog for like 40 minutes tonight. We'll just have to see. And if I get talking and driving and talking and having fun, I might vlog for longer, but I don't know. It has been a very, very long day. So last night after I got done vlogging, I listened to, I don't know how much of my audiobook I listened to last night. Half an hour, I can't remember. But I was in bed by like 1:30, and I got up at 8:30 today. And that had been my goal, to be in bed early for me, which is no later than 2 o'clock. And I got up at 8:30, and I went and I started rendering my vlog, and then I went and did, why are my lips smacking? And then I went and did a review at Starbucks, and then I came home, and I mean, I just filmed one video after another today. You guys, I ended up posting 8 videos today. I filmed 2 drama videos, my vlog, my Peterisms video from yesterday, I posted that today. A booktube video announcing the books for next month for both book clubs, True Crime Book Club and Peter's Book Club. And then 2 Peter Does Stuff videos and my review video. That was 8 videos that I posted today. And I had everything pretty much done by 1:30. And then, on top of that, I finally took the Christmas trees down. And so the one downstairs, I was like, I'm gonna film this and put this up on my Peter Does Stuff channel. So I filmed that at like 2 o'clock. That was the second video on that channel that I made, that I hadn't planned to film that video. So that was kind of an impromptu. I kind of had fun filming 2 videos over there today. That was kind of my impromptu video over there. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then when I got that done, I took the Christmas tree down from upstairs, and I cleaned the kitchen, and just did some other stuff around the house, organized, made some lists for some things. And then I was like, I'm kind of done. And that was at like 4 o'clock. Alex got home at 5:15-ish. And I sat and talked to him for a little bit while he ate Chipotle. And then he was watching Schitt's Creek. So I watched episode 2. It was when Stevie and David go to interview to be flight attendants. Do you guys know that episode? It's funny. And so I watched that with him. And then I laid down for, I had like 45 minutes to lay down before I had to start getting ready to pick up Tanya tonight. And we wanted to get to the meeting early because one of our friends was getting her token for her sobriety birth date. So got up. I like fell asleep. Like, you know when you can't like fall asleep, and then all of a sudden, like, it took me like 15 or 20 minutes. I just like tossed and turned. And then I must have fallen asleep hard, because Alex came upstairs, and when I woke up, that was at like 6:45. And I needed to be in the I set 2 alarms, one for 6:40 and one for 6:46. and Alex was coming up, and then my alarm went off at 6:46. And I looked over when I woke up when Alex was coming up the stairs, and Boo Radley was on the pillow sleeping next to me. And I don't even remember him jumping in the bed or anything. He's so sweet. Those little guys were so helpful to me today. They were so sweet and just kind of played at my feet all day long and stuff. So I got a lot done today. I was very, very proud of myself. Felt very accomplished. And I have to say that getting up earlier, I really did feel like I achieved a lot more. So I'm going to try to do that all this week. We'll see. I don't know. I'm not going to probably post 2 videos on different channels. I'm like, you know, I don't know that I'm going to do 2 drama videos. The thing with posting 2 drama videos, and the thing with posting like all of those videos, right, is that, I mean, that's a lot of videos for people to catch up on and watch. And especially when each drama video is like 20 minutes. It, you know, ends up being like 40 minutes of videos. And typically what happens is, if I do that, it's because I posted my first video like earlier, which I did. I posted my first video at like 4 o'clock today. That video will do okay, and then the second video really gets no views at all. Because people just don't come and watch the second video, which I have to tell you, the second video that I did today was on Britney Spears and Jamie Lynn Spears, and I really enjoyed doing that video because I really enjoy covering pop culture commentary and, you know, stuff that's going on in the pop culture world, and I really had a fun time making that video. So, and I was like, no holds barred, didn't pull back. I just was like, this is my opinion. And I had a really good time doing that video. Oh, I had a good time making all of my videos today. I had a blast. It was really fun. I will say this, like, I got everything done, and then I was kind of like, okay, now what? And I should have taken a nap then, but I didn't. I just kind of like was like, okay, this and that. So tomorrow, if I get up early and I get my stuff done early, I may take a nap in the middle of the afternoon. We'll just have to see how that goes. Tomorrow, because trash comes on Thursday, I have to get the stuff off of the front porch, the last of the Christmas stuff, these 2 evergreen things that we haven't had room for in our trash to go in, so those are going to have to go in on Thursday. They have to go. And then I'm going to take like the pillows down and stuff. I've taken the majority of the stuff off the front porch. The lanterns are still out there, and the pillows are still out there. Other than that, everything else is gone except for these 2 pots over on the side that I got from Costco. And so those are what I want to throw out on Thursday. And we have room in the trash this week, so that'll be perfect. And then, why is this guy stopping on a roundabout? Come on. And so I'm going to do that tomorrow too. And I have some other like errands and things that I need to do. They added some more tests to my blood test, which I haven't gotten yet. Because I wanted him to like, I haven't had like an overall like blood test where they've tested for like everything, you know, in a long time. So, he was like, let me run that. And so he initially gave me the blood, like the, you know, the order that you take in to go get your blood done. And then the receptionist called and was like, he added 3 more things on here when you left. Do you want them explained to you and whatever? And then I kind of completely forgot about it. And then when I went in to go get my EEG, like when I was checking out, I was like, oh yeah, like the blood test, can I get those orders? And so she printed them off for me, and I've got to go get this blood test done. Like, I have been putting this off. So, I mean, I haven't really. Who is calling me? I have no idea who that is. I haven't been really, like, intentionally putting it off for any reason. I just, like, I get up and I go about my day, and I, you know, forget what I'm doing and all that. So I just, like, it's, you know, hasn't been at the top of my list, and I need to make it a priority and get it done. So I need to do that in the next couple days. Friday, I have a recovery commitment. Other than that, I don't have a lot to do. Saturday, we have my nephew Sebastian's birthday party, but it's only 2 hours. And I think that's it. I like making this new schedule work, where I'm still listening to my audiobook and, you know, but going home and getting like a pretty good night's sleep. Last night, I mean, I woke up at like 7:30, and I was going to go back to bed for like, I was going to sleep till like 10. Did I get up at 8:30 or 7:30? I think I got up at 7:30 this morning. I think I got up at like 7:30 and was out of bed by like 7:45. I was like, I can't sleep anymore. And so I got up and I put on my clothes, and like I was up and like going before Alex was this morning, because he was like, what are you doing? Why are you putting on your clothes? And I was like, I'm gonna make some coffee and take the dogs out and stuff. Yeah, I think I was up at like 7:30, and I was like, just kind of like waking up slowly, you know? I don't know when I looked at the clock and it said 8:30, and I was like, what was that? Well, it would have been at 8:30, right? Why is this doing this tonight? Don't do this. That must have been when I finally like was getting ready to leave the house. Maybe it was 8:30, I think. I don't know. But yeah, I was like, I really liked getting up early today. You know, like I said, like I'm a night owl. I like to be up late at night and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I really like getting a good night's sleep. And last night, like I said, I woke up a couple times during the night. Like I woke up out of a dream and like went to the bathroom and came back to bed. And like each time I looked at the clock, I was like, oh, I have so many more hours to sleep. It made me so happy. I was so excited. I was like, oh, I have all this more time to sleep. So yeah, it was good. So one day has worked. We'll see how many days this lasts, you know. We'll see how many days I stick to this schedule. I mean, probably not on the weekends, right? But it's still, at times it doesn't really feel like I have weekends, because my days just kind of float into one to the other, you know. Because I pretty much do the same thing every day, you know, with making videos and vlogging and whatever. It's like, Tuesdays don't feel a whole lot different to me than Saturdays. I mean, I don't go out or do a whole lot different, you know, on the weekends than I would during the week. The only thing that's different is that Alex is home on the weekends, you know, well, during the day, versus, you know, being at work. And then, you know, he's, you know, usually home with evening nights anyway, unless he goes and has dinner with his girlfriends or something like that, so. Little Boo Radley and Tucker were like running up after Alex as he was walking upstairs to go back to bed. He was like, come on guys, let's go back to bed. They were so sweet. I said, I'll be home in an hour. I'm gonna go vlog. He said, okay. Went to my meeting tonight, had a great meeting. Not tons of people are showing up to our home group, which is typically the case the first of the year. It's not even about the first of the year. It's about we have so many people in our like home group that are older, that have been, you know, sober for many years, 20 to 40 years, and they're retired, many of them, and they have, you know, houses in Arizona and Florida. And so from like January to May, they're not really home. They're, you know, gone. And so we don't see them. And so our meeting literally drops in half from like January to April, May, around that time. People in Indiana usually come home for May, because May is race week, is race month. And so many people are obsessed with the race here in Indiana that they come home for race, like, you know, Memorial Day weekend is race day weekend, and so many people are race fans, and they come home for, you know, race month and all, because it's like the trials at the track, and people love that stuff. Melissa and Jason, like, are obsessed with that stuff. My sponsor, she's obsessed with it. She goes down to the track, like, the week before the race. She is literally down there every day talking to the race car drivers. She's, like, obsessed with all of that stuff. So, I really am not interested in the racing at all. Isn't that crazy? I think I've only ever been one time. Was it only one time I've been? When Alex and I went to, well, Alex has been quite a few times to the Snake Pit. And I went one year, and I was like, this is not anywhere for a person in recovery to be. So the Snake Pit is in the middle of the track. Actually, one of the things that's interesting about Indianapolis racetrack, if you didn't know, or Speedway, is that there's actually a full golf course in the middle. Just to put this in perspective, how big the track is. There's a full golf course in the middle of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is what it's called. And so in the middle of all of that, there's this area called the Snake Pit. When I was growing up, like junior high school, the Snake Pit was known to be like for the race where like a lot of bikers came, and it was, you know, just kind of this. What is going on with my phone? Who is texting me? It was just this party central area, you know, and they would have a live band, and the band would be like, my husband is texting me, and I thought he was asleep, so I'm wondering what he's texting me about. It would be like these bands like, you know, like Leonard Skinner and those kind of, you know, I'm trying to think of who else, like Marshall Tucker Band, and you know, lots of rock and roll kind of stuff back in the day that they had. And like Ted Nugent. And so anyway, real wild times. People still go and they like camp out like the days leading up to the race. It's like, that's a big deal, and it's just like lots of drinking, lots of drugs and stuff like that. So we went one year because now what they've done is they've revamped the racetrack, or they've revamped the Snake Pit, and instead of having these bands like they had all these years ago, they wanted to get more people to come back to the Snake Pit. So now what they do is they have DJs, like big DJs, like Martin Garrix and Marshmello, and I can't remember who else they've had. David Guetta, I think they had maybe one year, I don't know. Anyway, I just know Martin Garrix was there one year, and who else? I feel like they've had big people. Like I feel like Axwell and Grosso was there, but I could be wrong about that. But anyway, I don't know who was there the year that we went. All I know was it was an S.A. Chut show, and it was sad. And it was a lot of like 22, 23-year-olds passed out on the ground, drunk at 10 a.m. in the morning. And I did not do well with it. It was a lot of drinking. It's usually like, you know, I don't usually have a problem being around drinking, but this was like oversaturation. I mean, it was like everywhere you turned, it was total drunkenness. And Alex just wanted to hear this one day DJ, and I said, babe, as soon as this DJ is done, can we go? And he was like, yeah, absolutely, and we left. And when we were leaving, we took a picture walking out, because you can like walk underneath the track, that's how you get out, and the cars are like, zoom, zoom. And he said, would you ever come back, or was it so upsetting to you? I said, I would come back if we like sat and watched the actual, like watched the race. Like I would come back for that. Because that's not like total drunkenness. I mean, people drink a lot at the race, but that part isn't as bad as the Snake Pit. And I said, and Alex has said the last couple years weren't as bad as, like, that was the first year that they had restarted that stuff. But Alex said it hasn't been that bad the last couple years because he usually goes. I said I would go if we were going to go watch the race, but I won't go ever again into the Snake Pit. Like, that was too much for me. Let me pull in here and see what my husband is saying to me. Do 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 do. at my hair. I'm not wearing a hat tonight. Oh my God. Hold on a second, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. It's a really sad thing happened, and I don't really know how comfortable I am sharing it on here, because a friend of ours whose boyfriend we met recently passed away yesterday. And it's like this really bizarre thing that happened, that Alex just sent me like all the information about it and stuff. I mean, we only met him for one night, and it's just really, really sad. Apparently he was like sick and had a fever, and then couldn't get his fever down, and so he went to the hospital, and they found out that he had some kind of lymphoma. He was young, like he was really young, like late 20s, and that was like in December. This is like so weird, because when I was thinking about my blood test today, I had a friend of mine. If you guys have watched my vlog for a while, my friend that passed away from breast cancer a couple years ago, I was in Miami at the time that it happened, and I was vlogging, and I talked about it on there. She was a dear, dear friend of mine. She had breast cancer, fought it for 7 years. And she went in for, I think she had like a lump in her breast, and then she went in for like a regular checkup, and the blood test came back normal, or came back abnormal, and something like that. And then they did like the biopsy and everything and found that out. And it's kind of freaked me out, like when they told me that I was going to get all these blood tests done, because I haven't had like, you know, full panel blood tests like that run in a while. And I don't know, it always scares me, you know, with that kind of stuff. I haven't really talked about this on here a lot, but one of my goals for 2022 is to be really preventative with like medicine, going to my doctors and my dentist, and making sure that I'm on top of all of that stuff. That's kind of like a goal that Alex and I made to each other. He is so fantastic with it anyway. I mean, like Alex goes to, like, he never misses like a primary care physician check-in or anything. You know, I mean, he goes to all of his stuff like regularly. And he said this to me the other day, and I thought this was interesting. Like, I didn't know this about my husband. This was like something I learned that I did not know. I said, I can't remember what appointment. We were talking about hair appointments, and I said, oh, I know, he can't go to his next hair appointment, and I don't have one. And so I said, because we go to the same person, and I said, do you care if I take your hair appointment? And he was like, no, that's totally fine. And I said, when is it? And he like knew when it was. And I said, he goes, but I have one after that, so I'll just wait till then. And I said, because he can wait because his hair is like curlier, you know, and whatever. And I said, how do you like know when your appointment is or something? He goes, I never leave an appointment without scheduling my next appointment. I go, never? He goes, never. He goes, because if I don't schedule an appointment when I'm there, I won't come back and schedule an appointment. I won't call and schedule an appointment, which is for me what is so bad, because by the time that like I want to get into the dentist, or by the time that I'm like fighting that right now with trying to get into the dentist, but by the time that, you know, I want to get into the dentist or the neurologist or whatever, it's like, it's so many weeks out to get in any place, you know, that it's like with the car, or, you know, with whatever kind of appointments you have, like I said, the dentist or whatever. it's like, you know, they'll go, oh, well, we can get you in. What did I, like my last neurology appointment, I was going to cancel it. Do you guys remember I was talking? I was like because I can't remember what happened that day, but I was like, I was going to cancel it or something. And when I called her, she was like, I can't remember what she said, but when she gave me the options, it was like so far down the road that I was just like, I'll just keep the appointment or something like that. I can't remember how it happened, but because it's hard to get into doctor's appointments and stuff these days. Man, that is so sad. That is so sad. I think they had broken up like shortly after that. This is not a friend that we see all the time, but he was a really good friend of Alex's at one time. Not the guy that passed away, but the boyfriend of his. He was a really close friend of Alex's when Alex and I first met. Damn. I didn't even really talk to him a lot that night, but it's just so bizarre, isn't it? So sad. Life is so short. It really is. I was just talking to Tanya about that today. Alex and I are really seriously talking about, so, you know, we really want to get a place in Florida, okay? But we also really want to redo our condo. I know that for those people that leave me comments like, are you ever going to redo your condo? Or are you ever going to buy your house in Florida? Like, these things cost money. Like, I don't know, like, it's not like this money tree that I have in my living room that Tanya gave me just sprouts money. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it takes money, and those are expensive things. Like, a total overall condo redo is expensive. To buy a condo in Florida is expensive. So Alex and I have been trying to kind of figure out, like, what things are priorities to us. The priority is fixing the condo that we already have. But we would also like to maybe, like, once a year, twice a year. You know, I had said to Alex, I mean, I work from home. I think I talked about this on here the other day, didn't I? You know, I work from home, and Alex can work somewhat remotely. So I had said to him a while ago, you know, even though we can't necessarily buy a house yet, we could go and get a condo in that area or a house in some area that we would maybe want to be in, or go there and look a lot while we're down there in Florida. And we could go to Florida like twice a year for like a month at a time. So we talked about it. When we were at something, I think it was a dinner party, Alex like threw out something. He's like, I mean, we were talking with our friends and they were saying something about going somewhere. And Alex said, I mean, we could go to Florida for like a month in May if you wanted to. And I'm like, okay, could he really? Like, Alex has meetings and things that he has to go to. Like, Alex goes into work every day now, but he wouldn't have to. Like, he could work remotely, but he would have meetings and things that he had to go to, right? So I got online yesterday. Was it yesterday or last night? I think it was last night, maybe. It was last night, because I was actually, I was sitting in the parking lot at the post office while I was listening to audiobooks, and I was looking up Airbnbs in Florida that had a house and had a yard, a fenced-in yard, that we could bring our dogs with us. And I was like, okay, how realistic is this? And it is realistic. I mean, some of them are very pricey, but some of them aren't super pricey. I mean, we definitely could do it. It would just be like, what would we want, you know? And then, so I said to him tonight, I said, before I went to my meeting, I said, you know, how serious were you? Because, well, this was the conversation I was having with Tanya tonight. Like, none of us know how long we're going to be here, right? Like, this girls' trip, like, I'm really excited about this girls' trip. This is something I have wanted to do for a long time. And, I mean, years and years and years, I've wanted to take just, like, 3 or 4 girls and go to Florida. I thought, you know, like with Tanya Jean, I thought it would be fun. We have talked about it for years. And the group that we have, I think it's going to be super fun, and it's just easy peasy, you know, play cards, talk, stay up at night drinking coffee and stuff. It's going to be fun. I'm excited about it. And it's been something I've wanted to do for a long time. And as much as I want to visit Mel and see Mel, I've done that. I haven't done this, like, girls trip. I mean, we used to go to the lake, but that was different. Like, our husbands came, or boyfriends or whatever at the time and stuff, and other people. It was totally different. So I'm like really excited about this trip, and I'm trying to do some things that like I've never done before, right? And Tanya and I were talking about, I mean, like, life is short. Like, these things I want to do, like live for a month in Florida, or get an Airbnb for a month in Florida, or Airbnb for a month in, you know, Arizona or whatever. Like, I mean, I don't want to wait 20 years to do them and think that, oh, I'll do them when I retire. I'm doing when I'm, you know, 65. I mean, who knows what my mom died at 64. I don't even know that I'll be here. You know what I mean? And so I said to Alex today, I said, how serious were you about that thing about going to Florida? Because he just kind of threw it out. And I mean, we had talked about it previously, but he just kind of threw it out. And he goes, I mean, I guess I could be pretty serious about it. I said, no, like, are you, like, serious talk here? Like, is this something that you would really want to do? And he goes, yeah. And I said, and you can get the time off from work or work remotely. And he said, I would have to put things into place, and I would have to plan, and I might have to come up here for a meeting or two and fly up and fly back. He said, but sure, yeah, absolutely. And I said, okay. And when I was with Tanya tonight, because we took our friend home after dinner, I'll tell you about that in a second, and then we, I was driving Tanya home, and it's kind of a little bit of a drive, and we were talking, and I was telling her about this, and she was like, we were talking about, like, me wanting to go to Turks and Caicos and all this kind of stuff, and going to Mexico. She was like, if it were me, oh, I was talking about the price of the house, and I was saying to her that because we're not going to be going to Turks and Caicos or Grand Cayman for my birthday, that we're probably most definitely going to do, like, Mexico or Miami, that would be cheaper. And so, because of that, then, you know, I could do both of these things or whatever. And Tanya goes, if it were me, she goes, that would be my 50th birthday. And I said, what do you mean? And she goes, I would love nothing more than to be in Florida for 3 to 4 weeks, living in a house with a pool, being able to go to the beach every day if I wanted to, have my dogs there. She goes, that would be my birthday. I said, seriously? She's like, yeah. She goes, why don't you go down there for 3? Because I looked at, like, the end of April, beginning of May, month of May, somewhere in there, because that's when it gets nice in Indianapolis, and then we have the pool here and stuff, you know. So I was like, okay, what if we did like 3 weeks, drove down there, and then, so we'd have a car, drove down there, and then stayed down and brought the dogs, and stayed down there for 3 weeks, and then we could come back for, you know, 5 days or something like that for my birthday, instead of going to Mexico, which is a, you know, $8,000 trip or something like that, which I would love to do, but we're going to probably, you know, I don't know, we might go to Mexico for New Year's or something like that. We have no idea yet. So I'm seriously thinking about maybe doing that for my 50th instead, and putting the money towards getting a house in Florida with a pool for that time. Because I don't know when the next time we'll ever have a chance to take some, like, extended vacation or be gone, you know. And if we're gone for 3 or 4 weeks, we could get up every day and eat a healthy breakfast and, you know, go to the beach and work a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's where it's at right there. So Alex is going to start looking to see how realistic that is, and I'm going to start looking at some places. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Sleep every night with a fan, stay up, watch TV shows. I think that would be fun. That makes me sad for my friend. It's crazy. surreal. Just never know, do you? So we went to the meeting tonight. Oh, that's what I was saying earlier, that it was not as crowded as it usually is. I saw a friend of mine that I hadn't seen in a long time, so that was fun, and talked to her for a little while. After the meeting, we sat in the same group, and talked about character defects, and prayer and meditation, 6 and 7, and 10 and 11 steps. And then afterwards, 4 of us went out to dinner for our friend's birthday. We went to Applebee's, and that was fun. We laughed and stuff. I was thinking today about my mom. She had 2 really close girlfriends, these women that lived on the street that I grew up on. One was my mom's friend that lived right across the street from us. And she was like one of my mom's best friends her whole life. Well, I mean, like, since she moved on our street. She is still alive. She's flamboyant, very different. She was a designer, and then she owned a decorator, and then she owned a modeling agency. I mean, she just was always flamboyant. Like, I'd go over to her house to have dinner in, like, the summers, and she'd do, like, fondue, and it'd be, like, this whole set. Like, she was real fun. And when we would do the haunted houses, she was the one that would bring all the crepe paper over, because she could go to, like, these decorating design places and get crepe paper for super cheap, and all this paper. It's like white paper that was like our walls to our for the maze and the haunted house and stuff. But anyway, she and the other woman who lived down the street, and she and her husband actually got divorced around the same time that my mom and my dad got divorced, similar time. And the 3 of them, all of the women, were friends like the majority of my mom's life. And for each of their birthdays, they would go out to lunch somewhere, and they got, whoever's birthday it was, got to pick where they went and stuff. I can remember my mom, like, later though, she would say, like, you have to understand my mom, who loved really nice things, but my mom was the clearance shopper like nobody's business. Like, I remember this one time my mom, she had this black biker jacket that she got from, what's that store? Now I can't remember it. What's this store? And something, and it was the something though. They had like clothes for people that were shorter, because my mom was 5 foot. I want to say it's like the Rack, but it wasn't the Rack. Ann Taylor, but it was like Ann Taylor the Rack or something like that, off the rack, or I don't know what it was called. But anyway, but it wasn't like a discount store. It was like for different sizes of people or something like that. I don't know, because she was always so happy because they had like clothes for people that were shorter. And so she wanted this like biker jacket. I don't remember how much it started at, but it was something ridiculous, like $300. And she would go in, and she knew the women that worked in there, and she would like try it on, and she'd say, oh, I really like this jacket, but $300 is a lot of money. And they'd say, well, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but next week it's going to go on sale. My mom would say, oh, it is? And she'd say, yeah, it's going to be 50% off. And my mom goes, oh God, still $150, like that's a lot, you know? And the woman would say, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. My mom would come in there like 3 times in a week. I mean, she really played the long con, you know, with the clearance. And she would say, I'll tell you what, my mom would come back in like a couple days later, and she'd say, God, I really do like this jacket. And the woman would say, well, I've been holding on to it for you back here. And she'd say, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to hold on to it until the sale, and then you will get 50% off, which is $150. And then I get, for sale days, whatever, let's say if it was 40%, I'll give you my 40% friends and family if you pay me cash. you know, and then you'll get it for whatever, you know, $80 or whatever. And my mom would say, okay, I think that might be pretty good. So my mom would get this $300 coat for $80. I mean, you know, she had beautiful clothes. My mom had beautiful bags and clothes. I gifted her some really nice bags, and my aunt bought her really nice clothes and handbags and sunglasses, and she didn't have massive amounts of it, but my mom knew how to work it. And like, she only ever wore black and just like dices of color here and there, you know? And so she really knew how to like make her clothes work, and she had beautiful jewelry. Anything fancy. She loved like, not even costume jewelry. She loved like beaded jewelry, and she had this like pink fake diamond ring that I bought her from a store called Details in here. She loved this ring. It was like this obnoxious pink ring, and she'd say, oh, people think it's a pink diamond. I'm like, what is a pink diamond? She's like, I don't even know if they exist, but people think it's real. I'm like, Mom, one year, okay, for her, well, actually it was her 60th year, because for that Christmas, I asked her what she wanted for Christmas, and she wanted these earrings. Like, I'm wiggling my toes because I can't remember what they're called. Oh, Diamonique. She said she wanted these earrings. I said, what do you want for Christmas? And she said, I want these earrings from QVC. They're called Diamonique. And I said, QVC? And she's like, yeah. And I said, are they like cubic zirconium? She goes, they're not even that. She goes, but you cannot clock that these are not real diamonds. And she wanted the biggest size too. I mean, she wanted these huge, you know, like studded earrings. And I said, Mom, I said, everybody's gonna know that they're fake. Like, because she said, I've always wanted a pair of diamond stud earrings like that, and I've never been willing to spend the money on myself, and I should have had your dad buy them for me when we were married, but I didn't. And she was like, and at this point, I'm never going to have them, so I want these earrings. And I said, Mom, nobody's going to believe that those are real. They're so big. And they were like $29.99. And she said, I'm 60 years old, nobody will ask. And true enough, I got her these Diamonique earrings, and they were on QVC. I don't know if you can still get them, but these things looked like the real deal, and nobody ever asked her about it. People would say, those are beautiful earrings. And she'd say, oh, thank you. They were a gift. She would say that. Oh my gosh. You know, it's just cracks me up. So what was I saying about that with my mom? Oh, she would say about her friends, I was going to say her lady friends, but whenever I say lady friend, I always think of that movie Shoot the Moon with Diane Keaton, where Albert Finney goes, lady friend, what's that? And she goes, it's like you're effing, but you just don't tell anyone. I love that line. I think it's such a fantastic line in a movie. Have you ever seen that movie, Shoot the Moon? Oh God, I need to buy that movie on iTunes. You want to talk about a fantastic movie. And An Unmarried Woman with Jill Clayburgh. These are all movies that you should not watch under the age of 10. Unfortunately, I did with my mom sitting right there, because these were movies that she was watching. An unmarried. Here I am at 9 years old, eating peanut butter sandwiches at 1 o'clock in the morning, watching An Unmarried Woman. Was it Jill Clayburgh or Jane Alexander? I can't remember. I think it's Jane Alexander, maybe. But anyway, who was in that movie? Oh my God, that so depressing movie, Testament, that I watched. Like, I talked about it so much in my vlog one night that I watched it like a year ago, and it was so depressing. I was like, oh my God, it's about like nuclear war and the fallout, and her whole family dies from it, and she buries them all in the backyard. It's so tragically sad. And that one kid, Lucas Haas, is her son, and he goes to run away, and he brings his toys with him, and he's burying him in the yard. And I've talked about this on here because this was one of my favorite lines of 2021, even though the movie came out in like 1985 or something. But remember Lucas Haas that was in all those movies back in the day, like Witness and all that kind of stuff? He's probably 50 now. But anyway, he's sitting on the ground, and she goes, well, why are you burying your toys? And he goes, because there's nobody that will take care of them anymore. And she goes, but where are you going? And he said, I'm going to find Dad. And she goes, and what will you do when you find him? And he goes, I can't know. I think it's so sweet. I love that. I can't know. Kids just say some of the darndest things, don't they? I love that so much. I can't know. I can't know. But anyway, my mom would complain. She'd call me, and I'd be like, what are you doing this weekend, Mom? Oh, well, it's so-and-so's birthday, so we're going out to lunch. And you know, she would say, they all know I don't have as much money as they do. She always said that. So, unfortunately, on my birthday, she would say, I always try to pick a cheaper restaurant, but they don't. They always want to go to the newest place where we split because she and the other friend would split the bill in half for the third friend for their birthday, you know? So she's like, you know, for their birthdays, I'm having to pay half of an expensive bill, and for us, we're going to Steak and Shake for my birthday. I'm like, well, then go to a nicer restaurant for your birthday. Oh, no, I think that's rude. I wouldn't do that to them. I'm like, Mom, you're so silly. So anyway, and then I remember, I shouldn't say this, but nobody knows who I'm talking about, unless they're watching these vlogs, and then I'm sorry to offend you, but this is how my mom truly felt. The one friend, she was always kind of like patronizing a little bit to my mom. I remember she made a list of, do you remember that book that came out, and it was like making a list of like what you want in a husband, the husband list, it was something like that. Well, she made a husband list, typed it up and everything, this friend of my mom's. She got really screwed over by her first husband. So she had this husband list, right? And I remember my mom talking about it, and she thought it was the most ridiculous thing in the entire world. She thought it was disgusting. She was like, I think it's so weird that you would pick a partner off of a list, like they must have all these qualities and whatever. She's like, that's not how love is supposed to work. And then, true enough, this woman, she found this man who she's still with, and I think he's probably 95 if he's a day, and rich as sin, and just treats her like gold and super nice. And then my mom was like, how did she meet him? And I'm like, because she had that list, Mom. Anyway, that friend would always buy my mom the corniest gifts, like the corniest stuff that like, just weird stuff, like hat mittens and stuff like that my mom would never wear. Well, this one year, she bought my mom, I mean, my mom was very fashionable. Like, she loved clothes, designers. I mean, she may not have, you know, had a lot of money, but she could talk designers left and right. I mean, she knew every fashion designer, what their shows looked like. I mean, my mom was really, really into fashion. And so, her friend gave her, this rich friend, a sweater vest that had like an apple on it, and then like a letter 3 and like ABC. It was like a school teacher sweater vest. And I remember my mom was so livid, and she came home, and I was like in high school when this happened, and she came home and she said, I have a question for you, and it's very serious. And I was like, yes. And she held up this, she goes, do you think this is who I am as a person? I was like, what is that? She goes, this is a gift from so-and-so. She goes, this is how she sees me. She goes, is this how you think I look to the world? I was like, don't get mad at me because your friend gave you a corny gift. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh. Hilarious. One friend that lived across the street, her husband died before my mom. Her husband was much older than her, like 20 years older. He was a really cool guy too. They had a boat in the Bahamas, and oh shoot, what's the island? Paradise Island. Isn't that where Atlantis is and all that stuff? But anyway, this is way before Atlantis. So one year for spring break, I was with my dad, and my mom went down there. I think this was the year that they were getting divorced, because my mom went from like a size 10 to a size like 2 or 0 or something. She used to talk about it all the time. She said it was stress weight loss. And she was like, she goes, it's the first time I wore it. She'd always tell the story, and she'd say it was the first time I had worn a string bikini ever in my life. And she's always pictures with her hair like in these little barrettes to the side, and she talked about how much fun they had. She had a blast on this trip. She hated to fly. I don't know how they ever got her on that flight. But anyway, she had such a blast, and they all slept on the boat. Like, they had this big yacht in the Bahamas they would go to and stuff. And anyway, my mom just had a blast down there with them, and she loved her husband. Her husband was such a nice guy. And he got really sick and died probably, gosh, I don't even know, 5 or for 10 years before my mom passed away. He was a really nice guy. My mom's friend, she loves the color purple, and she, not the movie, but like literally the color purple. And she painted her entire house purple. I mean, it is purple. You can see it from a mile away, purple. Purple doors, purple, everything's purple. She loves purple. She doesn't live on the street. None of them live on the street that I grew up in anymore. They all live like different places now. She actually bought a farmhouse and redid the whole thing, and it's this like majestic ordeal. It is so fantastic and cool. Yeah, they may have bought my mom corny birthday presents and all that, but they were good friends to my mom. I was thinking about that tonight because it was cracking me up that we're now like, for each of us in our little literature group, like we go out to dinner for our sobriety birthdays, and it's like my mom with her. Okay, it stopped, and then I was trying to start it again, and I'm like, the camera kept on like going farther away from me, so anyway. But I was getting ready to say, I think that like Tanya's much better at that stuff than I am. Like she always brings like cupcakes and flowers and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes I'm really thoughtful like that. If I don't have 50 other things going on in my head. It has to be on a list. Either on a list or totally spur of the moment. Like, oh, flowers, you know? I would like to be more, like, that's one of the things I would really like to work on this year, too, is being more of that person that, I don't know, for every little occasion, just, you know. I'm not saying you have to bring a gift to somebody every time you see them, but just to do something thoughtful for people. I always feel good when I do that stuff. And you know, most of the time it takes very little to do that. Just the random acts of kindness and stuff, you know. It really doesn't take a whole lot to just practice random acts of kindness for people throughout the day. And most of them are things that cost nothing at all. Just be a better, nice person than you were the day before, you know. And I'm crossing the bridge right now that I filmed the video for Peter Does Stuff on. In case you saw that video. You see, there's the river right there. I remember when I was a little kid, I used to like be scared but love this bridge at the same time. I thought it was like so old. It's been around forever. I thought it was like so old and it was gonna like fall apart. I feel like it used to be more metal and it would make a lot of noise when you went over it. I don't know why I'm remembering this all of a sudden, but I also remember going to Sears with my mom. Well, the wish book at Christmas, she'd say, circle what you want Santa to buy you, and I just go like this, circle, 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 circle. I would like circle everything in that wish book from Sears. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? The wish book, which is like the huge catalog from Sears. It has like everything that Sears has in it. It has, you know, in the catalog. But my mom and I would go to Sears a lot, and I remember that there were two things that I loved, and one was the dishwasher, and it had like you could look inside of it, so like they were trying to show you like how it worked inside. So you could buy the dishwasher, and it was like a clear like window, so you could look into it and just like see what was going on. I loved to just stand there and watch the cycle of the dishes go through. And the other thing was they had a washing machine and a dryer that had the same thing in front, where you could just watch like the clothes being washed or like the clothes being dried, and I would just stand there and watch it. I loved it. I was so fascinated with it. Which is probably why I don't like doing dishes today, though. I don't love doing dishes, but I do like doing laundry. If I had to choose chores that I like to do, well, they kind of change from year to year, honestly. Like laundry, I've always enjoyed doing, making beds, all that kind of stuff. What I don't enjoy doing, cleaning the bathroom at all. I mean, I do it, right? Because you have to, but I like cleaning the kitchen. I don't like cleaning the bathroom. I mean, not for any like reason like I can't stand clean toilets or something like that. I don't have an issue with that. My husband has an aversity towards cleaning toilets. I don't know what it is, but I'm like, you use it, and he's like, I know, but I don't like. I'm like, I'll clean the toilet, whatever. I mean, not to say that he hasn't cleaned toilets, because he has in our 13 years together. He just doesn't enjoy it. But we kind of have a little bit of a schedule of certain things that each of us does. Like, the nights that he's home, he feeds the dogs. The nights that he's not home, I feed the dogs. So there's that. And then he takes the trash out every week. Like, that's kind of his thing. And, like, I keep the kitchen clean. We both do towels and linens, but I'm the one that always, like, takes the sheets off and puts them on and that kind of stuff. The bathroom duties, well, the kitchen, I'm always the one that cleans the kitchen. Just because I am there most of the day and I enjoy doing that. The bathroom duties, we kind of share, but here's the thing. It's just such a job to go through and clean all that because it's so tedious. There's all the different areas, you know. We had, a guy that a friend of mine, my friend Jimmy, he passed away, but he cleaned our house for us for a while. Probably, 6 months. Fantastic. I mean, he would, like, scrub the bottles, the shampoo bottles in the shower. I mean, it was spotless. And Alex and I have talked a lot about getting somebody to clean our house again. But the thing is that with me there all day long filming videos, like, it's really difficult to have somebody there, you know? Because our place is not that big. If our place wasn't that big, it would be no big deal. But our place is small, so it's kind of hard, you know? My throat is starting to hurt from talking so much today, so I am going to can you guys hear it? I'm, like, losing my voice a little bit. So I'm going to get off here now, I think, and I actually vlogged longer than I thought I would, and then I'm going to listen to probably, 20 minutes of my audiobook. I'm super tired, you guys. Probably like 15-20 minutes of my audiobook. I only have like an hour and, I think I have like an hour and 48 minutes left, which obviously I'm not going to listen to that any kind of length tonight, but if I could listen to 20, maybe 15-20 minutes of it, and then go to bed, be in bed by 1:30 and be up tomorrow morning early again, and it'll be hopefully another productive day tomorrow. Today was a good day. So anyways, if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Practice random acts of kindness. Let somebody know how much they mean to you. Reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you. Anybody, just text them, call them, send them a note, say hi to your neighbor, whatever. Your favorite barista at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, or, practice random acts of kindness. Reach out and let somebody know how much they mean to you. Oh, and I think that's the one I used to say most importantly. Reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you. It is important. Human connection is... sometimes you saying hello to somebody is the only person that somebody will speak to in a day. Think about that. It's the truth, though, you know? Be that for somebody else, you know? Be that kind, gentle moment of their day. The other thing is you can start your day over whenever you want. Just snap your fingers and say, start my day over. And I love that somebody commented the other night on the vlog and said that they started their day over and it worked. So they laid down for like a half an hour, got up and started their day over. I loved that. What a great attitude. And so anyway, I love you guys and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.